Good morning.
Good morning all.
Welcome. Welcome to our first ever Boris Breakfast Club. In fact, actually, we may need to have a bit of a rebrand. Unfortunately, for those of you who had ordered breakfast, we were unable to deliver it thanks to some of the most reputable delivery companies out there. I'm afraid to say they weren't able to provide it. So I think as of this morning, we're going to rename ourselves to the Boris Coffee Morning, sponsored by Costa. Hopefully for each of you who had requested breakfast this morning, this hasn't been too much of an inconvenience for you, and hopefully you will have received a Costa voucher sent across to you as well. If you haven't, please let us know. Apologies once again. We'll get a voucher across to you this morning if you were due to have breakfast. So anyway, as I say, welcome to the first ever Boris Coffee Morning as sponsored by Costa. What I wanted to do first of all is just set the scene and explain why we've chosen to present to you in this way today. So firstly, we wanted to provide better information to our customers, make sure that we were able to show off new roadmap features that were on the horizon. And unfortunately, COVID has prevented us from being able to run our own events where we can invite you all in. So this was the next best opportunity for us. Hopefully you enjoy it. The plans are that as we move forward, we're going to run a breakfast club / coffee morning every 6 to 8 weeks and just give you the latest updates and make sure that our clients are the first to see the new features that are coming into Boris. And on that note, we've got a commitment for you today that for those of you that are on today, and I can see we're almost up to 40 watchers at this moment in time on YouTube, so a great turnout, thank you very much. For those of you that are with us today, you will be the first businesses, the first clients that will receive the new rollout of these new features. So that's our commitment to you today as a thank you for coming and joining us and supporting us today. So let me just outline the process for the next hour. We're going to be with you until 9 o'clock. We're running through YouTube and we have that set up to the right of us, so sometimes we may look across over at the screen. We have 5 big new features to show off to you today, so we've got quite a short time within the hour in order to be able to do that, and that's why we've chosen to present through YouTube. Just gives us the ability to be able to monitor the questions that are coming in rather than it being a large free-for-all, as it were. So whilst we may not get the chance to be able to answer your questions today, please feel free to either put your questions in as a comment onto the YouTube video, which Shatu will be monitoring, or please feel free to send them as an email to us and we will be able to pick those questions up and answer them as we can throughout today. However, if we don't get a chance to answer them, what we will do is we will anonymise all of those questions and we will send out a questions and answers feedback at the end of the session later on today. At the end of the session, we're going to have a next step. So if there's anything that interests you in what you've seen today, you'll receive a feedback form from ourselves sent immediately after this. Please fill that in. We really appreciate your feedback, but also more importantly, it allows us to build a personalised roadmap schedule for you. That can then be agreed with yourselves and we can look to roll out the new features onto your system. Once again, just before we jump into the features presentation, just to say thanks again for your support today. If you haven't received breakfast this morning, which you're unlikely to have done because we had the problems we had yesterday, you should have received a Costa voucher, and please keep us informed and we will get one across over to you. So,
Thank you very much, James. Thank you very much for all of you joining our Boris Breakfast Club, which again will soon be called our Coffee Morning. What we'll be going through now is today's agenda. What are we going to go through today within the Boris Breakfast Club? So today we're going to go through a couple of our new features like my colleague James mentioned. To start off, it is the new Boris Dashboard. We will then move to the Boris Scheduler. Then to the new live drawing. We will then finally, as features, we will move to the new asset management, which can be used across all the different industries. And then finally, we'll finish off with the ticketing system, where all our clients will be able to log technical tickets, support tickets, or account management tickets through our new system. Thank you very much, James.
Brilliant, thank you, Chateau. So as we said, a lot to go through today, so no more introductions from us. We're going to move straight into Boris's new dashboard. Just if we can set the scene, I suppose, a little bit as to why we've chosen to introduce a new dashboard. The first reason was predominantly down to the feedback that we took from our clients. So this is feedback that's come directly from yourselves. You've asked for the ability to be able to provide better KPI information, giving us that holistic overview of the current as is. When we were considering that, we were looking at the different types of management intelligence we could provide to you, the different analytics that we could provide, and therefore what we've tried to do is create a very dynamic dashboard for you. One that allows us to represent the information that you capture in many different ways: graphical forms, colour coding, traffic light systems, etc., etc. The dashboard's going to be fully customizable, so we can create any dashboard to suit your requirements, and we can accurately report against any of the fields of data that you bring into your system. It's going to be completely interactive as well, and it's going to be colour coded, as I said, into a traffic light system for you, or a colour scheme that best suits your teams. You're going to be able to add targets into there as well, so it's not just going to report against the as is, it's going to be able to forecast against the targets that you have set. And whilst it's not just going to be based around task, jobs, forms, it's also going to give you the ability to track your financial information, so your cost of sales, your materials, your tools, but also the profit margin that you're taking against those. And it's also going to be able to look from a compliance point of view, pick up your health and safety, your toolbox talks, your RAMs, sign-offs, etc., etc. You will notice that as we jump into the system, you'll see that there's a refresh every 60 seconds, and that was deliberate. We use it at Boris here. We have it up on the wall, so that all the operatives in the room have that snapshot of exactly how our business is performing, and that was how we intended to build this dashboard, so it could be a tool that you could use around your office.
Yeah.
So let's jump across over to the demo system itself. And I'm just going to give it a second because I know YouTube has a little bit of a lag in actually transferring across over onto our screen, but I believe that now has been represented up there for you. So probably helps if I start by just giving you a quick overview of the page and allowing you to see it in its entirety. You can see if I scroll down here, we've got some boxes up at the top. We've got some dials, some financial reporting dials, and we've got some graphs at the bottom. As I say, this page, this dashboard is completely customizable to suit your requirements. At the top of the page, these first three boxes that we have set up show us the forms that we've put into the system, the completed forms and the incomplete forms. Again, those can be customized to suit yourself. You could be reporting against surveys, you could be reporting against works, even incidents that you're reporting. This next section down here, we've chosen to represent compliance data here. So in this one, we've started to represent timesheets, method statement sign-off, and toolbox talks that have been completed. But you may choose to put your GDPR sign-offs in here, your vehicle safety audits, anything that you feel is most relevant to you. We can interact up at the top here, and we can have a look at how many forms we've completed this month, or how many forms we've entered, should I say, this month, how many forms we've completed, and also how many forms we've got incomplete. Now, there's a disparity between the numbers there because all we're recording is the form status of whether it's been completed. So if it's pending, then of course, obviously it won't sit in that incomplete or completed form section. And again, the same's true down below. If we want to look at how many timesheets we completed last month, we can see the answer is 5, and we can represent that on the screen. And again, moving down, we can start to look at last month, how many method statements, etc. were provided uncompleted. So hopefully that should give you an idea of what we can do with those first top boxes. Now and again, the colour representation that we've provided for you there is just a choice we've made. You may choose to have a traffic light system that's triggered dynamically in the back against incomplete forms or against incomplete accepted method statements, etc., etc. That customisation is going to be down to yourself. If we move down now to the financial reporting dials, as we call them, you can see here, and you can see a refresher's just gone on there, that's why all the dials moved. You can see that what we've chosen to represent on the screen is we're bringing through the material pricing from the material forms that we've completed and the cost list that you have inserted into the system. We can see that we've given a price for or a cost for the tools that we've used in these particular jobs. You can see that we have a sales figure, and therefore that provides us with a total gross profit against those jobs as well there for you. Now those dials, for those of you that have got keen eyes, you'll be able to see that we've got some figures set around the dials. That's where you can set your targets in there, and this can be customized to suit your requirements. So moving very quickly down to the graphical representation of data down at the bottom. Again, these can be set up with as many graphs as you need. They can be customized, minimized. We can bring them out, we can extend them back again, so we can actually see whatever we want to see on the screen. And again, we can interact with this. So if we want to, here we can see a pie chart of the forms breakdown that we've completed over the last couple of days. We may only be interested in the Form 1 contract works with live drawing or with barcode. So actually we can very quickly just interact with the pie chart and take out the forms that we're not interested in. So whilst we've got a top view of the total number of forms, we can actually play about with that as we go along. Again, down here, we've just chosen to put site visit reports, so all of those completed site visits can be accurately recorded and provide us with a view of those. And again, over here, we've got some graphical information that represents total monthly sales and below total weekly sales. And again, if we hover over this graph, we can start to see some of that information represented to us, and we can provide further detail. And again, we can customize that for you on that hover capability so that whatever we hover over can represent the information that you want to see on the screen. So I'm afraid that was a very quick whistle-stop tour of the new dashboard. As I say, there's going to be a feedback form that's going to come at the end of the session. We encourage your feedback and would ask for it, and hopefully that will allow us to develop the dashboard even further than where we've got it at the moment. But it's now ready to roll out to each of you and to your systems. Just while I'm just doing a quick time check, we've got 1 minute, Shatu. Have we got any questions that have come through?
Yes, we have. We've received one on my email and it asks, James, can we represent any KPIs on the dashboard? How customizable is this dashboard?
Great question. Okay. The dashboard is completely customizable, Shatu. When I say completely customizable, any field of data that you accurately capture within the Boris system can be represented within the dashboard. So I suppose the challenge that I'm going to throw across over to you all is challenge us to identify a way of representing within a graphical form or within a way that we've demonstrated within that dashboard a piece of information that you'd like us to represent, and we'll do our best to try to represent that for you. So challenge over to you. But great question, whoever asked that. Again, we'll consolidate all of the questions at the end and we'll provide the answers. Apologies again, it's going to be very, very quick is this today, just because, as I say, we've got 10 to 15 minutes to talk through each of the areas. So we're going to move from the new dashboard into our new scheduling tool. Now, the new scheduler, as we call it, was originally developed due to, again, client feedback around the use of the planner. So those of you that use the planner will know very well that it is a user-based tool. And what we mean by that is every user within your business, every Boris user, will have their own line within that planner. And what our clients are having to do at this moment in time, and what you're all telling us you're having to do at this moment in time, is that you're having to create multiple lines for works. And what you were looking for is a job or location-based scheduling tool. So that's what we've designed for you here. We've introduced some drag and drop simplicity for you, so hopefully it just makes it a little bit easier to be able to run that scheduling. And we're able to, from the scheduler, create that scheduling, create the form and the work instruction, and deliver that out either to a single device or multiple devices to a group or a team of people. You're able to assign assists much more easily, and I know that's a challenge that's been thrown back at us by a number of our clients, is how do I assign an assist without having to create a new line on the planner and a new work instruction. It was a little bit slow for you in the approach, and that's why we've settled on the new scheduler idea. We can also link the scheduler to your cost modules, so we can ensure that actually you can provide costs and profitability against each of the locations or the projects or the jobs that you're working on. You can attach notes to the job, which can be automatically transferred down as part of that work instruction form across to the devices. And again, we can view a history of that as well. It just gives you the ability to be able to group people together into teams to work on a specific project, delivering direct messaging, direct forms, and anything else that you may want to send down. So let's jump straight across over into the new scheduler. And again, I'm just going to give it those couple of seconds just to transfer across the screen over to the scheduling tool. Again, apologies, this is YouTube slowing us down a little bit this morning, but I believe that we should have it now all up on the screen. So, just as a quick overview of this page, what have we got? Well, over on the left-hand side, we have a number of lists contained within the system. We have an operative list, a van list, we have a task list, a tools list, a hire tools list. We have a number of different lists, and in Boris's usual way, we bulk upload these lists into the system. So if you have 1,000 operatives, 1,000 officers out in the field, 1,500 officers out in the field even, you can actually bulk upload these into here. Across this side of the screen, over on the main portion of the screen, we have the project itself. And the way this works is you select your customer, your location for that customer. So if this was you're working for a number of clients yourself, you're able to populate these in as your different clients, or it may just be that we're scheduling this work for you as the first party business. In this particular case, I'm just going to go grab an example. Let's say we're going to take the example gas customer. And that is our customer that we're talking about within this particular scenario. Now, I've actually bulk uploaded a number of locations in here as well, and you'll see that from the drop-down menu that I already have the example gas customers locations set within the system. So I'm going to say that actually I want to create a job for number 1 Acacia Avenue. And at this moment in time, we have the ability to be able to create a project lead or a manager for that particular site. In this scenario, I'm just going to pick one of the guys up. I'm going to pick Mark. I'm going to set it for today's date, starting at 8 a.m. It's to run all day today until 6 o'clock. And I'm going to say that it's an example gas job. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button over on the right, and that is going to create me my new location or job. So it's as simple as, if I want to stick within this gas customer and say, well, actually, I've got a number of other jobs today. I've got one at number 1 Leeds Road as well. That one's being headed up by Damien. Again, it's also a gas job, and I'm going to create that job. Now, you'll notice there's a difference between the colour schemes there, and we've done that deliberately. We actually have one client who's been acting as a testing client for us with the scheduler. They've been trying to break it, and they've been doing very, very well from it, actually. But at any one time, they can have up to 150 different locations and jobs per customer on this screen. So for them, it was really important that we try to represent these boxes, these locations, but obviously give them a different colour coding depending on the job lead. So that's what the different colour coding is all about. Now you'll see here over on the right, we're going to take one Acacia Avenue and we're actually going to start to assign people. Well, I'm going to actually go out onto that job. So I'm going to pick up myself, I'm going to drag myself across onto Acacia Avenue. And you'll notice that over on this left-hand side, it's removed me from the list. So this will prevent me from now being able to double book within the planner or the scheduler any multiple men out on the same site. So that just gives you an idea. And what I'm going to do, Shatu, if it's okay by you, I'm going to send you across over to Leeds Road this morning.
Sure, you can do so.
Great stuff. But what I am going to do is I'm actually going to assign you an assist as well. So I'm going to send Wyle across with you this morning. And in fact, it's actually a 3-man job. So we're going to put Will across over there as well with you. It's quite a large incident that we need to send across to. So there's 3 of you going across. Just while I'm here, I'm also then going to start to pick up the vehicles. Now, these vehicles can already be attributed to your man or woman employee, but in this particular case, we're dragging those vehicles across and we're adding them into the location. So we now have the vehicles across, and again, from the tools list, we're actually going to start to drag across the tools that are required in this particular scenario. It's actually hire tools for Shatu's job. We're going to drag a cherry picker across, and we're also going to need a cement mixer as well. Now, those jobs are now in the scheduler. We haven't actually transferred them across to the planner at this moment in time. In order to do that, we need to click select and we need to update jobs. But I just want to show you before we do, we're just going to have a look at some of these features down at the bottom. So by clicking show, I'm able to pull up the financial information against that individual project. Now, it's a demo system, so we haven't loaded in any costing data against the example customer, but this would start to work everything out for you, provide you a review of your man days, your labour, your materials, etc. And again, we can add notes in here, so we can say, look, there's a cherry picker being requested on this particular job, and therefore we have to add it in. So we'll take those away. We're going to select within our jobs, and we're going to go to update the jobs, and we're going to get a message up at the top of the screen that says that jobs have been updated successfully. So at that point, that should now have updated within the system. And I'm just going to go across over to our planner. I'm just going to yo-yo between the different screens. So hopefully now you will be starting to see up on the screen the planner that I've navigated to. And what you'll see is that those jobs have now been placed into the planner against the operatives or officers' names. So we haven't had to create multiple lines of planning information. We've been able to do it all from a drag and drop within the scheduler, assigning out the tools, assigning out the correct hire tools, the correct people, and the correct vehicles. Of course, that list can be extended as far as you need it to be. If you need extra equipment to go out, we can add that in there. If there's a requirement for IT equipment, of course, the way Boris works, we can drop any list into Boris and we can represent that over on the left hand side, but that just allows us to be able to populate this planner in a really rapid manner and assign out information and bulletins out to the team members involved in that particular project. So
we have a question for you, James.
Okay, well, we've got 30 seconds, so we have to be very quick, Chateau.
Lovely. We've got a client who's asking, is there a maximum number of jobs that can be allocated to one client?
Is there an allocated number of jobs? No, there's not, Chateau. Actually, that's a really great question, whoever sent that in. We have tested it. As I say, we have one client who's extensively tested this for us. They've been running up to around about 150 different jobs against one particular customer, and then they're doing work for multiple customers. So actually, they're probably holding at the moment anywhere up to 400 or 500 different jobs on a day against all of the different customers. Now, I'm being reassuredly informed by our IT team that there is no limit to how many can be represented on the screen. What I would suggest to you is, if you are the type of business that has 1,500 officers out in the field and you want to represent those 1,500 officers all on one screen, we may want to find a better way to represent that information for you. We may want to drill down by or group into greater locations, etc., or geographical locations. Anyway, I need to move on from that. Hopefully you've had enough to be able to see from the scheduling tool as to whether you'd like to move forward with it. Again, there will be the feedback form that will come at the end of the session, which will enable you to request further information on the scheduling tool, or actually to start to talk about a personalised rollout schedule as well. So, Shatu, I'm going to hand over to yourself now. You're going to talk us through live drawing and the new asset system.
Yes, thank you very much, James. So, to take you through, we will have one of the new main features within the Boris system, which is the live drawing. The live drawing actually came the back off our customer feedback that they would like to drop a pin on a live drawing where all the other operatives have got full access to. Okay, so what I'm going to do with you now is I'll share my screen where I'll give you access to see the instant live drawing as I show. Okay, so that will currently come up. So on the live drawing, we've got many new features on there where we can associate specific templates that you require within different industries. So as you can see on my screen, this is the new app screen. We are currently on the drawing option where we have the ability to pick the drawing where we can drop our pin to locate any specific job we have done. As you can see across the top, there's a couple of different tabs on there. We'll go through a couple of them, such as this one where it gives you the ability to create a new form from your templates you have within the system. We also have another tab here where your operatives on site have got the ability to see their set of live work that they need to complete on site. Okay, moving on to the key. These are the keys that you can drop as a pin onto the live drawing. These are just a demonstration example. We can create this bespoke to you, change the key icon and also the colours that you require. Okay, so we're now going to move to the drawing. I'm going to click on my top floor drawing, which is going to directly take me to my live drawing. As you can see on the left hand side, the icon is flashing red and green. That's just basically picking up the internet connection. We have tried to put the updaters every couple of seconds. However, we can change this as on your requirements. We have many tickets on this actual drawing. As you can see, they're all coloured differently because they're at different stages of the job process. So for example, green can be the first step, yellow can be then the step to say, yes, I've done the works, and red, there may be a damage to the works that you have installed. If I zoom in onto my drawing, as you can see, there's a sachet on one of my keys. What this gives your operatives ability to understand is that is the actual ticket that they have raised and need to complete. Okay, you can then raise a new ticket by clicking onto or tapping onto the drawing, gives you the actual icon, but we're actually now able to move around and put it exactly to specifically where we need on your live drawing. If I then click into the ticket, it gives me the ability to raise an ID against this work. This can be installing of your ventilation, recording on road closure, recording even your fire dampers, fire stopping, and so on. You then have the ability of raising your tickets. So you pick the template one and you create your ticket there as we speak. Okay, you can then against these templates record barcodes, information, your photos, text, and so on. Okay, so we are now going to move to how this actually outputs out to your back office. So within your back office, it's going to give you the ability to see how are these keys been recorded, what are the information that's been saved against these pins you have dropped on these live drawings. Okay, which should come up shortly. So when that comes up, you'll be able to see on the screen all your different keys on the left hand side. So with your keys, you can see they're all coloured separately in different colours because of the different statuses. You then have your IDs against your job. You then have the information as where this key is being allocated on your drawing. You then have all the information. As you can see, this is based on fire stopping and fire rating. However, this can be changed to any other industry that's currently within our Boris Breakfast Club. Scrolling across towards the right hand side, you've then got all the product information, the dimensions, the number of products you've installed, and then also the operative. Who is the member who's installed this work? So who's dropped the pin? You then have live history of that pin. So when was it surveyed? When was the works complete? Has there been a repair, and when was this repair done? Further across, we then have the photo where it gives you the evidence of the work that was completed. You then have the drawing associated to that pin, and also the status. So within this status, it shows you exactly what stage this pin is at. Is it at survey point? Is it as of the works that needs to be completed? Is it at Q&A stage, or has it been handed over to a specific client? Okay, your customers can have access to this view and will be able to view it from their side of their user login, and we can limit what you require them to see. Okay, so yes, if you are interested in more information in the live drawing, like James has previously said, please email us or contact us through the chat, and we'll happily take you through a full demonstration in more detail to how we can make this bespoke to you and go through a scope of what the works are to put this together for you. Okay, thank you very much, James. Have we got any questions?
Well, chat's actually gone mad. So we've got lots of questions coming through. There's some really good ones here, actually. And thanks again for all of the contribution here, guys. It's really, really great to see. We've got some brilliant notes and messages coming through, and even some morning messages as well. So thank you very much. But the first one that we've actually got come through from an email, actually. And you did mention, Shatu, that the updates is happening once every couple of seconds at the moment.
Yeah.
We actually have some 4G black spots out there, apparently. And with the questions coming through is, what happens if the devices are offline? How will live drawing work in that situation?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, James. So a good point that. So how it basically works is, yes, we call it the live drawing and it requires internet. However, if you're in a certain location where you've not got internet connection, that's completely fine. As your operatives drop their pin onto the live drawing, James, they'll be able to queue up a list of pins they have dropped. As soon as they're connected to 4G, Wi-Fi or internet connection, that will automatically push through all their pins to the back office, where an admin member will be able to view and review from there, or a customer as a live portal.
Okay. Understood. So it will work online or offline. All it will do is queue up the work and then submit that through when the device becomes available on a 4G or a Wi-Fi network.
Yes,
great.
That's correct. Thank you very much for that, James.
Okay, I'm just going to go across. We've got a couple more questions. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here.
No,
We've got
fine.
one. Is there a facility for the client to see the pin and the history of the assets where the pin were dropped? So I suppose this question's about client access, and whether we can provide that out to our clients.
Yes, 100%. Great question again. So yes, they do have the ability. Once you give them the back office access as a client, they'll then be able to click into the drawing, which we will fully train all of our clients on if required, is where they will be able to view where that pin was dropped and all the information saved against that pin.
Okay, one last question.
Sure.
I've got you on live drawing. Live drawing seems to be one of the areas that there seems to have been a lot of interest in. So there is a question here. It comes from one of our fire stopping clients asking us about what other assets can be held against. So I know we've represented the doors on here, and we've chosen to just pull up fire doors. But what other assets, Shatu, can be held against, or can we store information against within the asset management system?
Great, lovely. So any assets that you have within a company, so technically all the way from installation of ventilation or a traffic cone, all the way to, as we've demonstrated, fire doors. So basically, James, it can be any any works or services provided by clients.
And what about internal assets? So if I wanted to just record, my laptop and all of the team's laptops and devices, could I do that through the asset management system?
Great question. So as we have demonstrated today, it's live drawing, but great point, James.
Sorry.
We are then going to move to the asset system where we'll demonstrate. So you've jumped there, James.
I think I need another cup of coffee this morning. I've got my questions written down and I'm jumping between them, but thanks, Shatu.
No problem at all. What we'll do is we'll move on to the asset management system and then we'll come back to that question if that's okay, James.
Yeah, I'll
at the
keep
end.
a pile of it.
But great point. So what we'll be going through is the asset management system. However, the asset management system is a great point from all the way from the golden thread to your fire doors and manufacturers, right up to even recording your fire alarms, even moving on to different industries, your ventilations, your fire dampers, and even right down to your mobile devices and laptops that clients have within their businesses. So what we're going to do is we will share our screen with you to be able to show you how the asset management system looks. So apologies, I believe there has been a bit of a technical problem on YouTube. So if you just give us 1 second.
Yep, it looks like it's working all okay now.
Great, it's all working fine. Apologies about that. We could see a bit of a freeze on the YouTube. No worries. So as we are now back on to demonstrating the asset management system, apologies if there has been a bit of a lag or we've gone back to the start, but we are going to share our screen to show you the asset management system. Is that shareable, James, at the moment?
I believe it has. It's just going to take a couple of seconds for YouTube to switch over now to the screen.
Great, no worries. So to go through the asset management system, so the question that one of our clients asked is, can we record any assets? The answer is yes, you can record any such assets that you have, all the way from a fire door, like explained, right up to your laptop within the offices. Okay, so as you can currently see, we have the list of assets that we have recorded within the system. Okay, so the assets that are recorded, as you can see, can be recorded through an NFC tag or even an NFC pin, barcode or QR code. It's completely down to you as a company to decide which route you want to go down. You also then have all your information saved against that asset. Yes, we currently have manufacturer, production date, installation date, but like explained, this is bespoke and we completely make it customizable to your company. However, if you've put a certain installation in, what it can actually do is we can assign a next maintenance date in the background, so your operative and admin members can automatically know when the next maintenance date is for this specific service you have installed. You then have the full history against that asset. When was it manufactured? When was it installed? When was it inspected? We then have different authorities in different industries. For example, as the fire door, you've got the fire authority has done a check on the 17th of June 2020. Okay, we then from there are able to log your photo, a certificate against a product. So if you've got a product certificate or even a health and safety document against the work that you've recorded. You then have your drawing and also the status of your job. So as a manufacturer, you can record all the way from, have you created the door? Has it been manufactured? Has it been shipped to your client? Also, onto your installation, was it installed? Where did has it been repaired or has it been handed over? This can all be recorded as a status onto your asset management system. Okay, we will now move to how the app will look from a customer point of view. The app will be able to be scanned by your customers, where they'll be able to download the Boris app specifically made for them, where they can scan the NFC tag, chip, QR code or barcode, and they'll be able to view the information saved against that work. Okay, so if I just share my screen with you to show you the app.
It is going to be shared, Chateau. It's just taking a moment. We've
Great.
got approximately, we've timed it, about a 20-second lag on the on the YouTube screen.
Not a problem at all. So I will be sharing my screen with you as to show you how a customer or even how an installer would record the work on site. So I believe it will shortly come up on the screen where you'll be able to see how to scan this NFC tag. So I've got my mobile phone and I've got a pin where I'm just going to scan it on my phone, and it gives you the ability to view the information saved against this asset. At the moment, again, it does say door detail, but this can be any information saved against your company assets. Okay, so as you can see on here, you've got your dimensions, your fire ratings, the information captured against that door. If we then further scroll down, you can take photo evidence of the product that you're basically assetting. If you have a specific label, you can take a photo of the label, and even your certificate that I explained within the back office you can attach. A client can view that from client access view, and an installer can view that as well if required. It doesn't have to be a certificate, it can be a health and safety document, it can be a work instruction, etc. Okay, we then can move into our installation. This is just an example of a template. You can take before and after photos, you can pick a drawing, you can write any sort of comments in there. However, you can view this from your app. Thank you very much on that. Moving forward from that, looking to see if you could possibly be able to move on to back to the back office, just to show you one last thing on the asset management system. So on the asset management system, as an admin member, you are able to edit this information against the asset. So all the way from your installation details, your door dimensions, or any other product or hardware details, and this can all be edited from the back office. If you are interested in more information on the asset management system, please keep us updated. We will happily demonstrate the system to you to view and show you how the system would work. If we can just take it back to our screen, please, James. Just want to show what I meant by scanning a pin, just to finalise how the asset system could possibly work.
For those of you that haven't seen an NFC pin, this is what it looks like. There are other options available, obviously, aren't there?
Yes.
You want to just talk us through those?
Yes, sure. So at the moment, this is an NFC pin, which can be installed into a door. So however, we can also have an NFC tag, which is a silver sticker you can stick to your product, or such as a QR code and a barcode. We can obviously discuss this at point of scope for you to be able to let us know which work will work best for you, and we can go through it together. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to us regarding the asset manager system and live drawing. Have we got any other further questions on the asset system, James?
We've got a lot actually, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to yo-yo between the live drawing questions and the assets, like I did a little bit before.
Yes, sure.
So let's stick with the assets at the moment. I'm going to ask you the same question that we asked previously, which was questions come through whilst we're representing fire doors. What other assets can be stored within this system?
Yeah.
And if you could just clarify that for us again, sorry, because I know we muddled up the order slightly.
Yeah, sure, no worries at all. So with the asset management system, James, you can record any assets you have. So it does not have to be a fire door. It can be a fire door, a traffic light, even a ventilation, a fire damper, fire alarm, or even such as an asset within the office. So it might be the tools that you have on site, so such as your cherry pickers, any sort of products that are required, a drill, or even your laptops in your mobile phone. So it can be any devices or any products within the company or services.
So that actually links really nicely to another question that we've received, again via email, and it says the recommendation, so this is about recommendations of what we'd use. So we've talked about pins being ideal to go into a fire door.
Yeah.
But let's say, for instance, I have a traffic cone, or let's say, for instance, I have some ductwork in the ceiling.
Yeah.
A pin isn't going to be suitable in that scenario, Shatu.
Yes.
So what other options have I got, and how would that link with the asset system?
Yeah, sure. So rather than using the pin, we could use the barcode, for example. So you've got your barcode sticker and you can stick it onto this product. However, what certain clients say is, well, what if that product gets painted over? What if that product gets damaged? We then have the NFC tag, which you can paint over and it doesn't get damaged as easily as the barcode or the QR code sticker. We can provide the stickers to the clients and the NFC tags. So as previously mentioned, we can scope this with the client and understand what works best for them.
Great. Okay. Brilliant. Another question. This is actually yo-yoing back now to Live Draw, and this has come through on the comments. What we've been asked is on the Live Draw, if we click on one of the tickets, will that be able to bring up the information about that particular ticket form, etc.? So please talk us through that. How would that work?
Yes, sure. So ideally, as soon as you click onto the pin, you'll be able to either raise a new ticket or even capture the information that you've got against that ticket. So actually similar to the asset system, but you're not recording your works as an asset. When you click on the pin, it brings all the information back up for you.
That's great. Okay, Chateau.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of information there. Again, guys, apologies. We're having to do this very much as a whistle-stop tour today. Hopefully within the scheduler, the dashboard, live asset, or live drawing or asset management system, you will have seen something that interests you today. And as part of that feedback form, if you could just let us know that you are interested, you'll see we have 2 tick boxes. I'll put the form up at the end so you can have a look at it. One says, yes, I'm interested. The other one says, no, I'm not. And at that stage, we can start conversations with yourselves about how we move forward with this, answering some of your more in-depth questions that are coming through as well. So hopefully that'll be there for you. Now, the final new area of the business that we wanted to talk to you about today was our new ticketing system. So previously we have been running an internal ticketing system within Boris, and the process has always been that you've made a phone call or sent an email through to the office. One of the tech team picks that up and raises that within our internal ticketing system. And what we wanted to do was provide something to you that I suppose tackled that scenario first and foremost, and it gave you the ability to be able to create your own tickets and be in charge of managing through those tickets. It also, from an account management point of view, Chateau, I'm talking about us here, it gives us the ability to see when was a ticket raised, who was it raised by? What were the response times within that ticket? So looking at SLAs and understanding how we can support you better. Did we respond quickly enough to that initial ticket?
Yep.
How long did it take us to identify a fix? Do we consider the priority level correct for that individual ticket? So there's a number of things that we are looking to achieve here with the ticketing system. But the first thing is to provide you with that complete access to be able to raise your own ticket, and the second thing is from an account management point of view for us to be able to report against those tickets that have been raised in here and I suppose confirm the SLA agreements that we had in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump across to the ticketing system, and again we're going to give you a very quick tour of raising tickets. Again, please feel free to send through your information, your questions, either via email or via YouTube, and we'll try to take some of those questions at the end. But I'll just yo-yo across now to the ticketing system, and I'm just going to give that a moment or two just to load up on the screen. What you should see once the screen flicks across is you will see that we have arrived at the login page for the Boris ticketing system. Now, of course, we could customize this in typical Boris fashion to anything you need it to be. We can put your logos into this screen if need be. But ultimately, you will have an individual login access. You'll see these up in the top right hand corner. You've got the ability to raise a ticket, log in, or about. The about section just provides some company information. We've chosen in this particular scenario to represent our own company information. This is Boris System, and obviously we've put some information in there. But typically what we would do is we would log into the system, or we would have this permanently logged in if you were using this on a day-to-day basis to communicate with ourselves. So I'm just going to log into the system. You will notice we have a forgot your password functionality in there as well, which I don't know about you, Shatu, but it really helps me a lot of the time. Make sure that I keep track of those passwords, and it also keeps me disciplined enough to rotate those passwords relatively frequently as well.
It's great for someone like James who forgets the password quite a lot.
Thanks, Shatu. So you'll see that as I've logged in, the top bar icons have changed ever so slightly. So I've still got my About section. I've got an overview of the tickets. I can build up my own contacts within here. I've got some notifications, and I've got some client-specific actions. So let's just start to look at some of these. First of all, if we look at the client settings, this is where you are able to build your own avatar. You can insert your own picture into here, create your own profile. You can set up the settings to best suit you, to provide the right alerts out to you, and the monitoring, etc. And we can also change our password from here as well. Notifications. These are obviously the notifications that are coming through to you, where we've closed a ticket, where we've replied. As with all Boris systems, we store all of the information transactionally within our databases, and that means that no data will ever be overwritten. We store everything line by line. So where we put a reply, where we close a ticket, where we open a ticket, everything's stored line by line transactionally, and we can see that within the notifications, and we can see a full auditable history of all of those interactions with the ticketing system, so we can always refer back and have a look at them. I did say that we've got contacts within here as well. This gives you the ability, as you start to bring new people into the business, you move roles, people and roles around the business, it gives you the ability to create, and most importantly probably, instantly remove people's access from the ticketing system. That access is created within contacts, and anyone who has that administration privilege is able to do that. All they would do is create a new contact, or they would edit or delete that existing contact that's in there. So as someone moves on from the business, you can remove them instantaneously from access. And then probably over to the most important section of the lot, which is the history of the tickets that have been raised by myself within this system. So this is dynamic enough to obviously pick up my user. As an administrator, you may want to group users together, so you might want to be able to see all of the tickets that were raised by your team. That access is available to you. What we're showing you here is just that singular view of all of the tickets that I have raised within the system. You'll notice on this left-hand side, it automatically generates the token ID for you, and we can search for those once we have a really long list and it becomes really difficult to look through. We can search for them up in this top box over here on the right. We can also search by the title, and we give all of our tickets a title. We can also search by the department that it was raised within. So was it raised for a technical or a sales team member? We can see the current status of that ticket, and that's traffic lighted at the moment. And we can also see the priority that was assigned to that ticket. We'll talk a bit in a moment about priorities. We can see the date that that was raised, and in the background to that we have the date and the time, and we can see all of the information associated with that. And we can also see who it was assigned to. You'll also see over on this right hand side we have a bit of a dashboard summary. We're able to drill into priority tickets, into closed tickets, whatever it may be, so we can go back and we can audit our own data here. However, let's just go in, have a look at one of the tickets. We'll open one of them up, and we can see that this was a test ticket. It's got all of the information stored against it, and we'll show you now how we create that ticket. So I've clicked on the button that says create new ticket or new ticket, and here you can see that we've got add new ticket, submit your ticket, and we're going to keep the customer the same. It automatically defaults to the user login. However, if you have administration privileges, you can actually have a list, a drop-down list here of the different customers or clients that you're relating this to. Again, we can do the same as an administration privilege. We can actually set up the different contacts, and here we can choose which department we're going to raise that ticket with. In this particular scenario, we then have the ability, or this particular field, should I say, we have the ability to be able to set the priority level against this ticket. Now, of course, we at Boris can reset some of these priority levels. So if it's an ongoing development and it's been set as high priority, we may move that back. But again, transactionally, that will be stored in the system, and we'll have a record of that movement from high to low, or high to medium, or even low to high. But our categorization would be high priority would be a critical outage of the system, down to low priority where we had a couple of weeks to review some development work, whatever it may be, and provide a quote back to you. That's what the priorities do. I'm going to set this ticket at the moment as a low priority. I'm going to say this is a test for Breakfast Club, for coffee morning, and we're going to also say sponsored by our friends at Costa. So we'll put that in there. I couldn't spell Costa this morning. Now, if we scroll down the screen, you can see that we have the ability to be able to drop in further evidence and information in here. So we can provide a URL link, or we can even attach a file. And by clicking select a file, it will search our computer or pull up an access box to the computer, the device, and it will allow you to submit a file from the device. Once we're ready and we've built up our ticket, we click submit, and we will see now that that ticket arrives into the system, and that's reported through to all of the relevant people here at Boris immediately. We can then respond through that ticket, say thanks, received, we are working on it. And then we can either add a file or we can click reply. And again, transactionally, that will store that information against that particular ticket, and we can continue that ticket on until we decide to close it off. So we've got a couple of minutes left. I just want to talk through the next steps, but we've got 1 minute. Is there any questions on ticketing, or did we ticket that off?
Yes, I've actually received a question on my email. It says, do you have SLAs on these tickets?
Great question. Yes, we do. So each of you will have your own individual SLAs, and we monitor, as part of the account management team, we monitor these tickets against those SLAs. So ultimately, if we have a certain response time and then a certain fixed time, those can be output. And when Chateau and myself come round and do account management visits, account management calls, we can discuss those SLAs with you, but they can be predetermined by yourselves. And again, if you have different SLAs that your clients are working to, so i.e. you have one client working to one SLA and a second client working to a slightly different SLA, we can program those in by client as well into your system. So really good question. Hopefully we've answered that one for you.
Thank you very much there, James.
Okay, so thanks everybody. We have 1 minute to go before 9 o'clock, so I just wanted to wrap things up for you for our first ever Breakfast Club / coffee morning session.
Soon.
Yeah, we'll have to have a rethink about how we deliver this. So just as a summary, following up from today, you're going to receive a feedback form, which I'm going to display on the screen for you now. We'll send this out to your email addresses, and if we could ask you to just work your way through and complete it. If you absolutely want to keep it anonymous, please feel free to do so and drop it across in the post. We're not really bothered about who it came from. We just want to know what the feedback is, but obviously it helps us if we know who it came from, because then at least we can come back to you and we can start to schedule and prepare that rollout schedule for you. So we're going to be sending that across to you within the next half an hour. You should receive that. And I just wanted to say once again, thanks everybody for supporting us with this first Breakfast Club. We will take all of the questions we weren't able to answer today. We'll summarise those back to you in a document and get those across to you today as well with the answers. And we look very much forward to sending you out the new invite for 6 to 8 weeks' time, where we can talk about the new features that are going to be coming with Boris. And I have already seen some of the new features that are coming in Q1 of 2021. So I'm expecting that to be a really great session we're going to run in 6 to 8 weeks' time. So thanks again.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been an honour to obviously have you all within this breakfast club this morning. Thank you very much for all the great feedback we're already getting, actually, before we even put the phone down. Thank you very much for all the feedback, and we look forward to seeing you on the next breakfast club.
Nothing else from us then.
All good. Thank
See you
very
later.
much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.